Next up, we have Man Whore. This guy came last year. Heard about him on RSD through, I believe, Heartwork, actually, told me about him. Guy posts a lot on there and helps a lot of people out. He's awesome in the field. I've heard firsthand. I've seen him out there, too. And to be honest, I think last year he gave like one of the best speeches. Like, it was just rock solid, like, core, like, manly shit. So this year, expect more of the same, and I have really high expectations, so see what you got, man.
Thank you.
Good luck. Thanks.
Okay, so about 8 years ago, I got this name, Man Whore. And it's got nothing to do with any kind of like chosen profession. A little some on the side there. I had a lot of female friends, and I was very entertaining, very aggressive and dominant. And but without the sexuality. You know how AFC Adam was describing that last night? That's basically exactly what it was. So if you guys are having, just on a side note, if you guys are having a hard time developing your dominance or aggressiveness, try it first without the sexuality. You know, your female friends, your guy friends, see how that works out. Learn to bring in the sexuality later, because if you're trying to use them all at the same time, maybe that's why you guys are having issues. Anyways, my female friends would basically give me their friends. You know, like, this is Amanda. She's visiting for the weekend here. I'd be like, okay, you know. And my guy friends were like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, like, why do these girls trust this guy this much? And so they started calling me Man Whore. And once the girls found out, they went ballistic. And so 8 years later, I am still Man Whore. I can't seem to get rid of it. I'm an ex-military officer. I was a high school counselor, a wrestling coach. And, you know, one thing I could say about being in the military, I was a quote-unquote professional leader. Okay, it was actually my job to be that role. And a couple different points, I was actually in charge of drill sergeants, and you know, very solid group of guys, very intense mission, and you've got to be a certain way for those kind of guys to see you as somebody they're going to actually listen to. You know, I was pretty chill about it, but then all of a sudden I'd see like recruits come on through, doing jumping jacks or running laps with their gas masks. I'm like, drill sergeant, what the fuck is that? You know, you're chill, and then all of a sudden you see something, and you got to hit it right. You got to hit it hard. And another thing I'd say is that, you know, being a leader, you guys think, oh, that guy's so alpha, so smooth, and you know, being a leader it's really not about that at all. Okay, we face the same weird bullshit, the same mistakes, the same kind of logistical crap that you guys face. It's not about being smooth, it's about how you deal with those issues when they come up, okay? A leader knows that when shit hits the fan, it's not gonna slow him down, he's gonna work on through it. And that's basically the defining factor between being a leader and being someone who can't lead. Because we're all gonna face the same situation, it just depends on how you hit it when it comes to you, okay? I don't do this every weekend, so I have my notes here, okay? Because I do this like once, twice a year or something. And if I just let myself go talking, we'd be just out in orbit somewhere. Okay. Something else I'd like to say is that being a leader, it taught me when it was time to be gentle and firm, and then when to constructively crack some heads together. And that's an advanced skill set. It's something you got to learn, and you got to do without the ego. And I see a lot of POAs online. They reach like a certain post count, or they like get a certain number of lays, and all of a sudden they start like bossing their fellows around. And to me, that's pathetic. That's not what it's about. That's just ego bullshit. Now, we're going to be going over a lot, but it's okay. It's in a tight framework. Everything kind of fits in conjunction with each other. So bear with me. We'll hit it up. And what we're going to be talking about is, you guys see those alpha guys out there. You see those leaders. You see those guys that are just so sure of themselves, so smooth, and you're like, and you realize they allow themselves to be that way, And the question is where do they get that from? Where do they get that sense of entitlement? Why do they give themselves permission to be that way? Okay, and that's basically what this talk is going to be about. And what I want to show you guys is how to empower yourselves, okay? How to get on your track, on your path. Because honestly, we can't give it to you guys. We can't tell you, I can't give you permission to go out and be who you are. You have to give it to yourself, okay? I mean, that's the whole point, all right? I want to start out with a question. You see certain guys and they try to learn game, or they go natural game or routine game, and they can't do shit with it. They can't do it, or they do it and they can't do it consistently. And then you see some guys, and they're completely new to the community, and they learn like a little bit of game, and bam, they're gone. Full pimp. It's like the Pimp in a Day program. And you're like, who the fuck is teaching that? I want to take that one. And it's because they were coming from a different place. They were already dialed internally the correct way, okay? It's like the Latin language. We can read it, we can write it, we can understand it, but we can't speak it because nobody speaks it. Nobody alive speaks Latin anymore, so we don't know how to pronounce it. But if we were able to get somebody from the past that came through and spoke the language, everything else would fall into place. We would know how to pronounce the vowels, okay? And what I'm saying is that inner game is the language of social interaction, okay? Once you're dialed internally correctly, outer game is just pronouncing the inner language of who you are, okay? And, we say inner game, okay? What is inner game? I feel entitled, or I feel good about myself. Okay, well, why do you feel good about yourself? Why do you feel entitled, right? Now, communication, I went over last year, and 93% nonverbal, right? That's basically saying that communication is nonverbal, okay? 93%. And nonverbal is that deeper level of communication. It's authentic, okay? It's really hard to fake. And, if you can learn to fake it a little bit, you can't be consistent with it. And if you do get really good at faking it consistently, then all of a sudden you start developing these, these cognitive whatever, I can't say that word right now. The cog dis, you're like either unhappy, you basically become disassociated from the success with women you're experiencing out there because your sense of self-worth is not on track with where you're at socially. I'm saying? You've kind of skipped ahead. We say, where do you guys want to know, where do you get this from? Okay, you can't get it on a form. You can't read a book. You can't drink Kool-Aid and be like, I understand now. I have inner game. No, that's not how it works. You always have the look on your face. Last year, you were falling asleep too. I remember that. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about this first section, there's been a few different names for it. It's be your own guru, Nathan and RSD. Tim's be the hero of your own life. You are all you need. In the way you do anything, you do everything kind of thing. I'm sure there's other, I really feel that the whole community, there might be perceptions of separation, but honestly, we're all moving to the same place. So I'm sure every single camp has some version of this going on, okay? Now, I know Sin was talking yesterday about Way of the Superior Man, and I've heard it's amazing. I haven't read it yet. It's on my list of to-do stuff. But the way I see it is there's two components of inner game. Okay, once you have these, everything just kind of flows into place. And the first one is characterized by Eckhart Tolle and being present, the power of now. Okay. Now I don't want to I don't want to get too deep into this because I'm not the guy. You guys need to do it yourselves, okay? How many of you guys have read The Power of Now or anything like that? Awesome, sweet. How many of you guys have heard the audio? Okay. Okay, some of you guys have maybe read it and been like, what the fuck? What is this? Okay, it happens to some guys, they don't understand the first time. They read it the second time and they have like a huge mind shift, I listen to an audio. Okay, I listen to it basically every day. Something else is always sticking to my mind that I pick up and internalize. And it's basically been one of the biggest, I wouldn't say jump, I'd say shift. It's kind of expanded me and my ability to be who I am. Okay. Basically, what it's about is absolute control of your emotional and mental state, and that's huge. You guys need to get into that. I guess one thing I'd want to say is that, being a man, being a human. I think we're still learning about the difference between females and males, but definitely being a man is about being emotionally centered, okay? Solid the whole way through. Okay, you guys face situations, I still do too, where somebody just gets in your face and tries to project some hard emotional shit at you, It happens all the time. Girls do it to us all the time. It's like they're born to do that, right? I think they are. I'm just kidding. But what you guys got to realize, it's not the actual issue they're bringing up that fucks you guys up, okay? It's actually that your emotional state is following that frame, that projection, okay? That's what you guys got to worry about. The issue is the issue no matter what, okay? It's going to be an issue no matter what. It's black and white. Don't let your emotional state, follow when someone's coming at you hard. Just be okay with it, okay? And, there's two forms of reacting to it. You can either react by vehemently denying it, and being aggressive, like, no, you're still reacting to it. Or you can go the other way, which is, supplicate, like, oh, I'm sorry, and both of them are reacting to it, okay? You want to acknowledge a problem, know there's an issue, take action on it, and that's it, okay? That's what, like I described earlier about being a leader, that's a huge component of it, okay? I was out one morning, the last place I was living at, and I'd fucked with their property in some way. It was an accident. I don't know exactly what it was, but she comes like waddling out of her driveway and up at me like this, and she's all upset and freaking out, and I'm just sipping my OJ, and she's all over the place, and I'm just looking at her like this, and she's just freaking out. And when you're present, you kind of become a mirror. Tim calls it being a net. You catch certain things, but most things pass on through. I like to think of it as like a mirror. When you're a mirror and someone's throwing shit at you, it just kind of gets reflected back and just kind of hangs in space. And it's like a bad fart in the air that only they can smell, So I'm talking to her like this, and she's freaking out. And she realizes that, I don't care, I mean, if it was a real issue, I'll deal with the issue, but I'm not going to take on this stuff. And it's almost like I flicked her in the nose. She goes like this, and it kind of gets a little teary-eyed, and then without a word, just goes back to her house. And, that was that. There was really no issue to concentrate on. We were out a few years ago, and my buddy had just punched this guy in the dome, hard. And so the guy runs off, and my buddy's like, yeah! And he's just don't come back kind of bullshit. And all of a sudden, he's face planted against the wall, getting arrested because the cops had just showed up. And they didn't see him punch a guy, but they saw him being drunk and loud and obnoxious. And so they're just rounding everybody up, right? Anyways, my buddy's like, oh, fuck, what are we going to do? So I walk up to one of the officers. I'm like, very calm, just right there. I'm like, hey, I know my buddy's being loud. I'm here now, and I'm going to take care of him. I'm just going to take him home and, blah, blah, blah. And that was it. And he looks at me. And, I don't care. He's measuring me, who I am, what I am. And I'm just fully calm with it. And then he goes, okay. And he walks back to confer with another officer. Then another cop comes up, and he's a monster. He's a big motherfucker, and he gets right. He like jumps and be like, blah blah, screaming at me, yelling. And I'm like, this guy's going to eat my forehead. And he was insane. He was easily more of a monster than anything else going on, right? So, I'm same thing. I'm just kind of present, and he's like, who the fuck are you? I'm like, I'm Jonathan. I'm talking to that guy over there. He's like, I don't give a fuck, blah, blah, blah. And cops, they get like, well, just when you're aggressive, you have this momentum that carries you forward, right? And then he kind of realizes that I don't care at all, and I'm still here, and nothing's going to change that. So he gets this look in his face like, who farted? And then just like walks away without saying a word. And the other guy brings my buddy out, uncuffs him, and we go home. And that's it, Another little one real quick. We'd had some kind of problem in the parking structure, and so they comped our $20 parking, right? So we're headed out, and we get to the parking attendant that takes everybody's money, and he says, "Yo, it's $20," and my buddy's like, "No, the guy clears blah blah blah," and the parking attendant goes like, "That guy can't clear it, blah blah blah," and my buddy is like, "No," he said, and then he's like, "No," and so my buddy just gets fully takes that on and starts arguing with this guy head to head, like, "I will win this," and that's not, when your ego comes in, it fucks up everything, okay? So I'm sitting in the driver's seat. They're arguing over my lap like this, and I'm like, calm down. And I said to the guy, I said, the guy cleared our parking. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. Have a good night. And I didn't give him anything to latch onto, okay? There was one option, okay? Either accept my way of being, which is fun and nice and positive and cordial, or he's got to invest all this emotional bullshit back into it. And he simply goes, okay, and then just lets us go. Okay, so that's the kind of centeredness, the kind of intensity that you guys can develop through being more centered. The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle. Some of you guys are like, well, it's just doctrine. It's really not, okay? I've actually experienced physiological shifts in myself. That's really the only way I can describe it. It's really it's more than I believe in Jesus, but I go stab people. It's not some doctrine that you can shed away. It's realness to yourself that has a lot of meaning. When I prepare for something like a big event, even something like this, when I've got to do some kind of intense situation, deal with it, I've prepared myself. I know who I am. I have the material, I have the skills, I have the knowledge, I have the voice. I know what I'm going to do. Okay, so when I'm preparing for something, I'm not sitting there reading over it or like this. That's not how you prepare for something, okay? You are who you are. You have the skills. You have the knowledge. You did prepare. What you want to do is focus on centering yourself, okay? I'll pop in some Tolle audio. And what it does is it sheds any kind of mental clutter. It just gets rid of it, okay? You don't need it. You don't want it, okay? Now is not the time. That's not the time for social feedback or what's going on around me. You want to become centered in yourself. Because guess what? When you shed that bullshit, when you are just purely you, that's when your best self shows through, okay? You're not supposed to be following all kinds of random mental nonsense, okay? And as you go more into the Power of Now, you'll realize, holy shit, I didn't even know I had so much clutter going on. I didn't realize I had so much negativity going on, and you'll get deeper, and you'll shed that and you'll become more yourself, okay? Here's the next point of inner game. There's this 18-year-old kid on RSD Nation. His name is Pimp of Persia, and Pimp of Persia is almost as bad a name as Man Whore. It's pretty close. And he wrote he wrote this post, and it really articulated really well something I've been trying to articulate for a while. So since he did it, and I want to cite the guy, I'm going to go ahead and read part of it right now. Okay, so it starts out this way. Slowly regenerating my senses, my RAS, reticular activation system, you guys heard of that? My RAS, whatever. Plucked out one important thing. Allow the moment to be as it is. Okay, he's very big into Tolle, Eckhart Tolle, so we're going to go from that into the next component of inner game. He kind of melds them so perfectly well together. Embrace everyone, everything, every situation, and especially yourself. Now, the only way I can put this into words is that there is power in stillness and silence. Centered is silent, internal is stillness. Noise is scattered. Unessential movement is self-raping. Okay, remember I was talking about the mental clutter? Okay, that's basically what he's talking about right here. Meet Joe Black on DVD today. Precisely 3 hours of methodical filmmaking. I watched as Brad Pitt, oft-proclaimed god of body language, move skillfully and purposely, if at all, even as he played death. Claire Forlani's gorgeous rich girl character approaches his rigid yet succinct portrayal and utters in thorough submission. So tell me, Joe, how come a man is attractive, intelligent, well-spoken, diffident in the most seductive way, and yet powerful, is all alone in this world? You could look in her eyes and tell she was ready to be fucked on the spot. In conventional terms, this can be boiled down to the strong but silent archetype. But the river runs deeper, my friends. Brad Pitt may have great body language, and that may get him laid, but why does he move so fluidly? What is the cause and effect? He has status, he has money, he has women, so he does not have to think to get laid. Therefore, as his arena is the social arena, and he is not thinking, he moves with total grace and strength. You can do the same. And you know what? It all comes down to quality. When you are present, you are not thinking. You are just focusing on what you are doing and doing it with complete passion, joy, and concentration. If you are not doing anything, you are being. In that case, you be fully. Allow your love and presence to pour outwards. Consistency is the mother of congruence. Your mind is putting up barriers to prevent you from tapping into your deepest power. This is really important, guys. This is the shift. If you tapped in your deepest power, you would easily be able to take whatever you want to make whatever you envision. Your mind does not feel entitled for these things yet. How do you make it feel entitled? Good question, and one that I avoided for a long time, because I didn't even feel entitled to ask why I didn't feel entitled. Here it is. Because you are not creating standards for yourself and living up to them. This is the root cause of a lack of entitlement. When you take pride and joy in everything you do, you create a pattern where everything you do is total quality, one of your standards, and it becomes ingrained into your self-concept and your sense of entitlement. Then everything begins to shift into the new world, new reality. Because when everything is quality, everything you do becomes what one would call a reference experience. If you're trying to pick up that chick and you're about to close, your mind cycles through in the blink of an eye and says, nope, you didn't pick up your dry cleaning. You pushed out on that last approach. You got into an argument with your mom. You didn't push out that last rep at the gym. Sorry, bro, you're a chode. Then that little bit of self-doubt manifests in your subcommunications. And when you go in for the kiss, she turns her cheek. Or when you go to approach, they blow you out. Okay? Now, on the other hand, if you didn't make excuses about not having time, needing warm-ups on your approaches, rationalizing that your mom should be more understanding, or hadn't been afraid to pull a muscle, and instead just went for it because the utmost quality is your standard and you expect nothing less, that chick would see the signals loud and clear, and she would plant her tongue so far down your throat, you'd think she was trying to wrap a leash around your neck. So in a funny kind of way, and confining yourself, like discipline, self-discipline, you free yourself. When you tame your body language and force yourself into smoothness and fluidity, instead of self-conscious shuffling or goofy clown overcompensation, you actually feel more entitled and free. When you demand you meet your own itinerary, you hit any shit that arises with the same intensity as your plans. Okay? Slowing down allows you to narrow in on the thoughts that serve you and nix out the rest. It is sexworthiness in a can. It is beyond sexworthiness, if I may be so arrogant. You become so potent that your expression is continually meaningful, and you need not think of anything to say because inattentive idiocy is passable, okay? You are who you are, so when something silly happens, it just doesn't matter, okay? This sounds ridiculous in a way, but basically when you respect yourself and love yourself so much, it just beams out everywhere. It really doesn't matter how people react to you, okay? You know what, I'm gonna stop it right there. The rest is pretty good also. That's on RC Nation if you guys want to take another look at that. So, you know, that's what I describe as the other component of inner game, okay? Whether you guys realize it or not, you guys are your harshest critics, okay? You guys are the measure of your own internal value. You know who you are and what you are meant to be doing, being, and acting, okay? You know, why do you walk up to women with, like, you know, natural game, whatever you want to call it? Why do you get blown out? Okay. Do you think it's because you're failing to meet up to their standards? Okay. No. Okay. You fail to live up to your standards, and that's coming through in your subcommunications. Okay. The act of living to another standard other than your own, which is not in line with who you are truly, is biologically undermining to your sense of self. Okay. You guys are in charge of this. These feelings of low self-entitlement, you guys control that, okay? Hit those standards, live up to them. And it all comes down to, are you in charge of your life, okay? You guys values for everybody is different, okay? Certain things will fulfill one person, not another, okay? Things like, are you in charge of your education, your finances, your job? Okay. Are you physical and in shape? Okay. Is your room a pigsty? Okay. These little things, they add up. And they, you know, your subconscious does not know the difference between, you know, it could be something little like you got to pay a bill or something, you know, or that, like you said, that last rep at the gym. And all of a sudden you're feeling stifled because you're not living up to your standard, okay? You're not fully at ease with yourself. So when you walk up, it's like showing through, okay? Now, I want to make one point real quick. It's not about actually getting the car, getting the job, making all the money. For guys, this is important. For guys, the very act of achieving and working through your purpose and intent makes the guy feel at ease with himself, okay? The very act of working hard, the very act of doing it, okay, whether it succeeds or fails even, there's no outcome dependency. Whether it succeeds or fails, the fact that you're pushing through something as a guy, that gives the guy that sense of ease, that sense of entitlement, okay? Your job, your boss, okay? You know, I have a boss, and he's a pretty badass dude. He teaches me a lot, okay? But when it comes to my work and what I do, he is not the standard for what I do, okay? I am. When I work and I do something, it depends. I am the standard for the work that comes out of my hands, okay? And you guys got to be the same. If you're depending on your boss to be the standard for the work you're doing, you're meeting another standard. Like I said, it's biologically undermining to your sense of self, okay? You know, sometimes it's happened, especially in the military. You know, I'd get shredded. You fucking suck. You know, I can't believe you did that. And like I said, when something happens, don't take it on personally or emotionally. Okay, you made a mistake. You are who you are. Okay, so if you have to learn something, then learn it. Okay, don't allow an ego or an idea of yourself that you don't make mistakes, which is ridiculous because shit happens to everybody. Don't let that get in the way of you learning, okay? Your parents, okay? My parents tried to do a really good job of messing me up. And if you guys are experiencing overbearing parents or somebody that's overbearing, it mostly comes down to they feel they still have to be the standard for what you're doing, okay? okay? But if you take it on yourself, they can't really touch you, okay? They're acting like parents because they feel like they still have to be parents. So if you guys start taking charge of your lives, start becoming the standard for what you're doing, then they don't have to worry about you, okay? And then they're not going to do dumb parenting stuff, okay? Now, as far as some of you guys have like, some of you guys might say, I can't be the standard at my job, and because your job sucks that bad. Well, what's that mean, okay? Do what you got to do to get yourself to that next level, okay? Is it more education? Is it more training? You got to like be cordial, longer hours. Do what you need to do to get there, okay? Like I was saying before, for me personally, like when I'm doing work, if I'm at home or if I'm at work, me personally, if my workplace or if my room is like in a shambles, it kind of fucks with me. Like I can't really concentrate on what I'm doing if my place looks like a pigsty. And I just realized this not too long ago. I'm like, why can't I concentrate? What's holding me back? And it was simply that I had shit everywhere. I cleaned it up, and I was like, I could become like centered and focused. And it's not just your room. It's like, do you guys got people calling you about bills? Do you have an essay that you got to write and you're putting it off? Okay? These kind of things will get in your head, whether you know it or not, because you're not living up to your standards, and they will slow you down. Okay? And it's like, I'd be lying in my bed, and I feel like, fuck, I don't want to do anything. Just feeling completely lazy. And I would have a moment of clarity. I'd be like, okay, it's one of two things. I either have to, as Tully says, stop resisting something and just accept it as reality, or I got an issue going on and I got to take action on it. Okay, it's one of those two things. Okay, and when I'd realized that, all it would be a matter of doing is just taking care of whatever it was, and I would free myself. Okay, and that's what this is all about. That's the point I'm trying to make. Now, now once we're going to move on to the next part here. Once you guys get this all down, is your outer game, is it like perfect and you're like, full, seducer? No, okay? It's a muscle. You work it out, okay? You build finesse. You get better at what you do, okay? But this is, what we went over is this is how you build that base level of entitlement so that everything you do comes from that solid baseline of who you are, okay? By achieving your own personal standards, you become solid. You are your own hero. You become absolutely comfortable with yourself. Okay. You also screen for what you allow in your life. If you become the standard, if you're taking care of yourself, you're obviously screening whatever you allow to come into your life. Okay? And this will show up subtly in your nonverbals. Okay? I post a lot about having that pre-screening vibe. That when I walk up, girls know that this guy, not only does he not want anything from me, but he wants to know what kind of girl I am. That's extremely attractive. Guys don't really have that, okay? You think AFC Adam yesterday, it's really weird calling that guy AFC anything. But he's got all those girls in his life, right? Do you think that he doesn't have some kind of screening process to be part of that group? Those girls are on their best behavior. They only want to show them their good side. Okay, when you become your own standard, when you become that screener, you attract good behavior from everybody around you. Okay? It's just a natural process. Nautilus' speech yesterday, I really agree with that. I like, as a guy that's being the standard, you don't want to chase, you want to be supplicative. At the same time, when you are the standard and you are the screener, you get to show intent, okay, from the right place, from the right frame, okay? So I firmly agree that, we're hunters, okay? We're aggressive. There's going to be some chasing going on, okay? That's just our role, all right? At the same time, I think Sin went into it yesterday. I was like, I thought it was really cool, is that, you present a certain image, And then you get her to a place where she's just like, ah, and she just starts trying to seduce you. And that's really what this stuff is about. I think that's kind of what Nautilus was trying to get into. I didn't hear all of it, but that's what that is. Similar to that yesterday. And what this all draws down to is that you act this way because deep down, you've earned it. Okay, it's not even that you acknowledge that you've earned it. It's just in everything you do. Okay, just because a baseline for how you act and be and communicate. And when you walk up, people know this about you, that you've taken this role for yourself, and you become the standard. I call it the social context. Okay, you become such a centered, kind of powerful guy that you become the social context for what's going on. Okay, people are like it's. And I went into this last year. When you're being physical with a girl, or you're escalating or something, or you're just talking to her, a girl does not want a guy that when he's talking to her, interacting with her, he's like looking around to like see what other people think of what he's doing. Okay. She wants a guy that's his own standard, that's his own sphere of influence. Okay. The social context for what's going on. She's not worried about what they're thinking over there. She's worried about what he's thinking, okay? And that's what a guy is supposed to be. That's what you guys want to work for. The next part is, once you're fulfilled like this, once you're the standard for yourself, nothing really becomes serious, or nothing's really too serious anymore. And you start getting into self-amusing, okay? And for the next half or whatever is going to be kind of going into that. When you're this relaxed about everything, when your purpose and intent does come up, you're fully invested into what you're saying. When you communicate, it just comes across like that. A couple of weeks ago, I'm like, just in my room, and my roommate, he walks in my room, and he doesn't walk in like he stalks in. He's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom right now and take a shit, and I want you to come with me. And he grabs me, and I'm like, holy shit, and we're like full-on wrestling, and he's like trying to turn me in the bathroom with me. And, obviously he was just fucking with me, right? No respect here. But can you imagine if he just, walked in I'm going to the bathroom to take a shit right now, and I want you to come with me. And be like, nuts, face, get out of here, right? So when you communicate, you got to be solid about what you're doing, okay? And this is how you build that. I think I was on a boot camp a few months ago, and I had to go to the bathroom. So I'm like, I find a girl. I'm like, hey, where's the bathroom? And I look at her. I'm like, I'm gonna blow that shit up. And if you say that wrong, that's kind of But it was so I was and she just laughed. It was it becomes hilarious at that point. It's because I was so forceful what I was communicating, right? And you guys want to adopt that. I think we went into this last year a lot. I was with Nautilus at Quiznos yesterday, and there was Fox News there, and there was two anchors sitting there, and literally this was so retarded. The guy standing there, he's going over a news story. He's like, today, she didn't walk the dog, and the dog's name is Ellie, and we're not sure what's going on, but for some reason they didn't walk the dog, and it was the stupidest shit ever. But everybody in there was like this was newsworthy, and what it was, all he was doing was projecting, putting intent into his voice, saying the most retarded stuff ever. I'm like, I can't believe, I'm looking around everybody, and I just want to take the female anchor from him, and when you're this kind of way, when I'm fucking out with my friends, or when they're fucking with me, any kind of energy that gets directed at us, because we're so centered, it doesn't really matter. You just kind of own everything that comes at you. So my buddy's like, you're gay. I'm like, I know. And you just take everything in, and you just make it, and then you just kind of direct it back out. Okay, that's something I've noticed about solid guys, is that they're not, nothing fucks with them. Okay, they're cool with whatever comes at them. They just take it, they just accept it, and not only that, but they make it their own. Okay, like teasing me, or a-mogging me or whatever. I want you guys to know that I still deal with like the same kind of like stupid situations you guys do. Like, sometimes people look at me and know there's something else going on there, and they're respectful or whatnot. But I still deal with, I still deal with the same stupidity that you guys do. My buddies are teasing me, or a coworker or something, and that whole alpha each other. We all still do that. But when I'm this way, nobody really wants to like make fun of me anymore, because I take all their jokes. Some story. I'm like, that's something to tell my grandkids. And my coworker's like, you can't have kids with another guy, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I've been talking to him about that, and he doesn't know what to do either. And you don't like get defensive about it. You just take it and make it your own. Okay. And when you are that way, repeatedly, it kind of, teasing you or a-mogging you, there's no reaction, or you're taking their stuff, so it becomes not fun. So it kind of like starts dying down, basically. Another thing I want to say is that when I need to be, I am a black hole of emotions. Okay, if some crazy, dramatic bullshit's going down, or someone's just projecting at me, like I kind of went over earlier, I just kind of suck it all in. And you just kind of become like a center. You can do this with like groups of people too. Something crazy happens, and they'll probably look to you, and you just like, and you just take it in. It's like the Matrix or whatever. Like everything kind of, then he just kind of like smooths it out. That's kind of what's going on here. Okay, when you're this centered, emotional bullshit really doesn't mean anything to you. Okay, and then you're able to communicate to others that it doesn't mean anything either. Okay, so you want to become that emotional locus, and we went over how you do that. Those like Smirnoff drinks, those like juicy ones, like the green apple. I really like those, man. They're really good. And I'll be in the store, and like I'll have like a 12-pack of like really manly Smirnoff Ice, and I'll catch some kind of like random flack for it, or like my buddy like, and what it comes down to is, if I wanted you to be the measure of my balls, I would put them in your mouth. Okay. And that's kind of your attitude, If I wanted your validation, I would fart in a napkin, Now, body language, okay? I see these like pick-up body language programs, and I look at them like, that's fucked up that they're teaching guys to do that. It's like they're like this, like really like, it's almost like robotic, and they'll have like girls in the videos with them, and you're thinking, I was thinking, man, those girls know this is bullshit. Like they're cool with that because they know that that's the kind of male body language that they can control. So they're fine with letting guys know. That's funny to them. But what I've noticed is any guy that is solid, it's not following what is construed as like male body language. It's about having your own rhythm. Okay, it's about being centered and having your rhythm. So when I want to accentuate something, I use my body, or I walk a certain way, but I don't follow any kind of set, like, this is masculine body language, this is alpha. I'm doing what I need to do to communicate what I want to communicate, and that's what body language comes down to, okay? And, here's a good example. When I first met, TD from RSD, I didn't actually meet him, I saw him first, and you guys will notice in a social interaction with a group of people, everybody kind of starts taking on the same rhythm. There's like a rhythm to a room, and everybody's kind of taking it on. And then I saw like TD walk through, and he's like like outside of it. Like he's centered and he's just doing his own thing. And he's stuck out like a fucking sore thumb. He's stuck out. And that's really what body language needs to be about, okay? You exist on your own thing, you're doing your own thing, you're just not really aware of like the rest of the social rhythm going on, okay? And, totally being centered, that'll help with that. That's magnetism, okay? That's that unspoken attraction that makes people just into you, okay? I'll be walking through the supermarket and like people are looking at me and I'm not doing anything, okay? I look for what I'm doing and like guys are staring at me. They're just looking at me. Girls obviously too, because I really don't care about the guys. But that's that magnetism, that unspoken communication about who you are. Or what I said about communication being 92% nonverbal, basically being your nonverbals, okay? That's what I mean. Also, you guys have seen the guys that are really good with with women, like Jeffy's like a prime example. The guy projects emotionally so strong, okay? And guys are taught, you can't show emotion because that means you're a woman, okay? That's not it at all, okay? Strong guys show a lot of emotion. The reason why guys were taught not to show emotion is because their emotions betray them as being weak. They had weak emotions, okay? When you're a strong guy, you show your fucking emotions. You show how you're feeling. That's really what separates the really seductive guys from everybody else. Like yesterday, we were all sitting back there, and I noticed Sin, when he wants to communicate something, he goes from like this, all of a sudden like this, and like he's not wasting energy. But when he wants to say something, he fucking comes out with it. And if you're in a group dynamic, the powerful guys, they're going to separate themselves by how they choose to communicate. Okay, they use emotion. All right, so don't be afraid, show it. All right, if your emotions are weak, work on those. But the expression of emotion is not in itself make you feminine or something. That's completely opposite. Okay. Eye contact, this laser eyes. Eye contact says a lot about you, okay? It shows your intent, how focused you are on something. And I went last year, you don't want to stare at somebody because then it just becomes kind of weird. Well, if you're centered, if you're focused and you're making eye contact, and you will follow a certain rhythm to what you're doing, and then it's just okay. But you show intent with your eyes, okay? I've met guys in the community who are just I'm having problems, and I'm like, well, you got your basics down? How about your body language and your voice and your eye contact? And he's like, yeah, I got all that down. And then I hang out with him, and he's his eyes. It's that subtle shifting of his eyes. So basically, the point is that always look at your basics. Always go back. Okay. How are you doing with your eye contact? It's powerful shit. I guess I want to make the point right now. You communicate who you are and how you feel about yourself by how you move and communicate. Okay, you guys remember me last year? I had the gash over my forehead. You guys told me this. You're like, you've lost weight, dude. I'm like, no, man. I had blood in my face. My face was out to here, and I had just gotten braces because I just taken a hit to the face. And my mouthpiece was in wrong, and I just lodged a tooth. So I had this gash and these braces. And I'm out with Nilitech, and I'm walking up to girls and they're like, get the fuck away, Quasi, and it's not that I'm Quasi, it's that I'm communicating that I think I'm Quasi, right? As soon as I got over it, and you guys can read about it in the reports or whatnot. As soon as I got over it, guess what? Everybody else got over it, okay? And there's some nice things that happened down here in Orlando last year. So yeah, I remember the best one is I was missing a tooth at one point, and I just so did not give a shit. I was so not focused on just being myself. I'm talking to this girl, and she's like, "You have really nice teeth," and I'm like, that actually threw me. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm thinking the ones that I have, what's going on here? And the point is that it's not that. That's not don't let that be your focus. Your focus is inside yourself and being who you are, okay? Being the standard. So when you're not focused on that stuff, that shit doesn't matter. I think, the way I see it, I think she had to justify why she was feeling the way she felt about me. And obviously my teeth were an issue because I was missing one, like right here in the front. So I think she had to like go opposite and say, I actually like his teeth. I don't know. I'm speculating at that point. Yeah, I went over that. Okay. Next point is when you're this relaxed, okay, we go out and it seems like the focus is, social scene, nightlife, the focus is purely women, right? And we've lost the ability to celebrate being men, okay? We've lost it. I was watching TV at Nautilus's place yesterday, and it showed like the men's rugby team, and these are badass dudes, right? Sick. They show them in the game, in the locker room, and then the next scene, they're fucking around in the swimming pool, and they're like all together, like doing like synchronized swimming, like yeah, like, and I'm like that's my kind of shit. Like when you're out with your boys and you just, I love my badass buddies because, I can relax, okay? I can be a dumbass. I can be stupid. I'm not having to like babysit. I'm not having to like take care of like till the tape ends. Okay. I'm not having to babysit somebody's emotions. I'm not having to take care of logistics because these are guys that are they're standard. They're going to take care of their own shit. Okay. So and that's what I look for when I look for buddies. Several years ago, it must have been like 6 years ago, I had a group of buddies, and we'd go out and it'd be like guys' time on the dance floor, and it'd be like, yep, it's time. So we'd like march out, we'd be like, like this. We'd just be dancing and like flexing and and like we had like moves, and like mine was like, and that was bullshit that we do, and there'd be like a whole fucking ring of us, and all the girls would stop dancing and be like, it was done. They were full spectators because it was us guys just being dudes on the dance floor, like owning that shit. And they'd be like trying to like dance up on us and be like, no, go away, it's guys in that, And and that's what we want to do. We want to celebrate being men. We'd be at like house parties or something, and be like, okay, guy time. We'd all come in on the huddle. We'd just be like discussing shit, like completely ignoring everything else going on. And the girls would be like, what's going on, And this isn't a skill set, guys. This is not something that we have to get back. This is a decision you guys make with your buddies, okay? Don't let the focus be on the women. Have some fucking fun with each other, okay? You'll see it. Now that you're tuned into it, you'll see when guys start doing this stuff and you realize what it is, okay? Pure relaxation, celebration of who we are, okay? Girls don't want to be the focus, okay? They don't want to go out thinking, fuck, they're cool with being, leaders and stuff and in charge, but they want guys that are the same way, okay? They don't want all the focus to be on themselves. They want guys to be like doing their own bullshit, and they get to see some value themselves. They get to see something that draws their attention also, okay? So think about that. Get back into celebrating being dudes, okay? In whatever fucked up kind of way you guys want. Okay, cool. I have this like crazy buddy, and like he'll be like dancing, like he does this thing where like, and he'll like take his shirt and like chew on his shirt on the floor, and I'm like, what the fuck is that, We don't talk about it, that's just his thing, And we have like girls like, is this a bachelor party? We're like, nope, this is a regular night out, and that's what it's about. When you're this entitled, when you're the standard, when I walk up, one of the main reasons why I walk up and everything just goes smooth is because I just feel entitled. Girls, hey, it's just I own that, okay? I'm just entitled to that, okay? You're not walking up trying to be someone else's standard. You're just so sure that everything else just kind of falls into place. Why is a guy physical with a girl? I'll be getting this more later. I just want to kind of touch on this now. Why is a guy physical with a girl? Why does he do things like, spank her or grab her? He does it because he wants to see if she's juicy and firm and good to eat. You know what I'm saying? He's the standard. He wants to see what's going on. He wants to see why are people, why is she so attractive? I want to see, okay? He starts owning that. And I touch on this also. This is not to show off to your friends, okay? At all. A girl wants a guy who's just doing what he wants to do, okay? That's very attractive to women, okay? She does not want a guy that, when he does something, he's like looking at his friends and see like, did you see that? She let me do that. That's bullshit, okay? She wants a guy that's his own standard for what he's doing, okay? So develop that. Extracting, okay? Or pulling back, okay? When you're the standard, when you're the selector, it's like, so what are you guys doing right now? No, that's gay. We're getting something to eat. Let's go, okay? And you're showing that you're the context for what's going on, okay? And that's smooth, okay? You guys can use that. Unsmooth is. Do you guys have a ruler back at your place? We just want to measure our cocks and then we'll go home. Okay, that's not smooth, but it's funny, See, a few weeks ago, my roommate's sister fell asleep on the couch in a skirt, and I get up in the morning. And, of course, they all know who I am, and they're comfortable. Anyways, get up, and I go to work, and I'm like, and I own that. I'm not going to make excuses, So next time I see her, I'm like, last time you were here, I got up to go to work in the morning, and I got to say, that was definitely the way I want to start my day. Okay. And at the time, it was more playful, so it probably came out a little bit different. But she was just like she, I basically what Adam was talking about last night about trivializing sexuality. Okay, that's what I was doing. Plus, I was also relieving some sexual tension because she's my roommate's sister, and I don't want to be messing with that. So I'm giving her a lot of sexual validation. Just on a side point, you don't want to give a girl too much validation for that. You want to kind of pace it to the interaction. But that's another speech entirely. I think Sin went over that a little bit. I got a few stories. I don't know if I want to tell them, though. Get myself in trouble here. I should tell them. Okay. So, I was, and this when you're out having a good time and you're just not giving a shit, you just present this vibe and people know you're not serious, you're not taking anything really hard, and they can just relax with you. And so, I was telling these people, I was driving down the side of the freeway, and there's this family in this SUV next to me, and it was just a cool little family. And all of a sudden, bam! They fucking hit the embankment and go flying off and land on their side down in a ditch. And I'm like, holy shit! So I parked my car and I go running back, and the van has started to catch fire. And they're screaming save us, help us. I'm like, holy shit! I'm gonna get blown up here too. So I'm edging away, and all of a sudden I realize I could save them. And I whip it out and start peeing all over them, And I put out that fire and I saved that family, And the kid's like, it's raining. And the mom's like, And the dad's like, stop that. And I'm like kicking him, punching him, And I tell that story and people get really invested in it, I'm probably in more playful mood too, but they get really invested in that. And all of a sudden I'm and I just fucking like this, and it just rips everything apart. It's holy shit, what just happened? It's hilarious. It comes out randomly, maybe once a month. I tell that. Yeah. I qualify girls hard. when I just randomly talking to them. And somebody was talking about it yesterday. When you're in comfort or when you got a rapport with somebody, you can break it, and it's a high value. It's a 2. Okay. So every once in a while I'm in a certain kind of mood. I'm like, I only talk to girls I put out the first night, and that always gets a fucking hilarious, great reaction. They're like, well, we're second nighters, or they're like, ooh, and sometimes they might try to give you like some kind of like hard time, but if you're just like, you don't care, then it becomes really attractive, I went over that part. Oh, when you're the standard, the AMOG tactic is, this guy was like talking to my girls, or this girls I was talking to, and I'm like, hey man, what's up? He's like, hey, what's up? I'm like, nothing. And I started talking to girls. And, just be careful with that, because sometimes a guy want to cry on your shoulder a little bit, and you got to like console him, because that's like flick him in the nose. So, exercise. I've made kind of a jump from inner game to all of a sudden, holy shit, he's knocking him over and stuff. And I guess I want to make the point is that, I help guys, or I want you guys to become more dominant and physically aggressive, and that's something that guys lack and something that girls really want from a guy. And so I guess the point I want to make is it wasn't like some like cognitive dissonant jump from one to the next. This is how you build in yourself the ability to just be comfortable with just leading and being physical. Okay, that's the point I want to make that point. And let's get back to where I was at, because I have no idea. Yeah, I want to make this point real fast. I'm talking about being the standard and being the screener and the pre-selector. And, some of you guys take that too far. I know when David D'Angelo came out with his, like, cocky funny, like, everybody's MySpace profile was like, and if you don't do this, and if you can't cook and wash my dishes and be my sex slave, then you're just out. And, that's not what I'm talking about here, okay? That's like weak display of I'm the screener here, okay? You want to show value, be who you are, and then as the natural rhythm of what's going on plays out, that's when you start showing your, who you are. Don't do it on your MySpace page. Don't be rude to girls or mean to girls, to try to get them back. If you guys have like a hatred of women, this stuff's not going to work, okay? As much as I mess around with them, my background is just all girls, okay? I love them. I love to be around them, okay? So who I am and what I'm doing is from the foundation of I appreciate them, okay? And also, like bitch shields or whatever, I see them as inspiration to man up, okay? There's something like someone went into it yesterday. If you're walking up and getting blown out repeatedly, you got something going on. Fix it, okay? Don't make excuses for it. My whole point earlier was don't make excuses for what's going on, okay? Accept it, take care of business, okay? Don't let yourself get to a place where you can't learn anymore, okay? Anyways, I want to get into more stories. Before I do, back to what I was saying, I am not out there to conquer women at all. When I'm this relaxed and I've already basically conquered myself, I've already taken care of my own shit, it becomes like, how can this be fun? How can I have like a little fun little vibe between me and a girl, okay? If you're trying to like game somebody or like trying to seduce them, what's the next step? You're kind of getting away from like to a girl what the point of being a guy is, She wants the guy that she can have fun with, okay? And what I'm trying to say is that when you're the standard, you're not looking for a girl to fulfill you, to make you feel good about yourself. You're just there having a good time, okay? You're just creating a real fun vibe between you and her. And, when it comes to what I do, I'm just like an aggressive, dominant, physical kind of guy, okay? And what I was talking about earlier about even before I was sexual with it, I still had that going. So, that's what you want to develop. And, all of these are examples of how a guy acts that's just, like I talked about, has his stuff together. I was walking through a club a few months back, and there's like two girls start walking by. And when you're the selector, you're just fucking around with people. So I grab them and I pull them in. I'm like, so girls, what's the chance of us getting a threesome? And I open with that kind of a lot sometimes. If it's in my head, I'm just dealing with that. And it never gets a bad reaction, because when you're doing that and you're solid about that, you're presenting the image of a guy that actually that's just his lifestyle, okay? So usually what will happen is want to be like really interested, and then the other one will be like, yeah, and she might scamper off, whatever. But when I grabbed him like this, and that same thing happened, she was just kind of into it, and she wasn't. And so I use that to screen her out. It's like, what's wrong with you? I kind of bring this girl out, and this girl is I've separated her from her friend, and she's sounding like, oh, I'm just not cool anymore. So I've used that as a standard to screen the girl out. So I've basically isolated her, And yes, I did have sex with her later. We always need to make that point. Yes, I did that, and I had sex with her. I went over to this girl's house that I'd met at a club, and I just was hanging out with her roommates. I was just having a really good time with them, and I wasn't trying to ignore her, but being a high value, as a high value guy, or whatever, your attention just kind of shifts to wherever the value is. So at that point, I'm having a fun time with the roommates, and I'm basically ignoring her. And she's like, what's going on here? So we go into her room, and I don't even know if I want to tell this. Anyways, she's like, what's going on? And I don't really say anything. I just slip my hand down the front of her jeans like this, and I'm looking at her like this. And she looks at me like I'm insane. And I'm not, so I just look at her like this. And that was it. When you're that kind of selector, they're just following your lead, and that's just how you physically escalate. You're just on your own rhythm, okay? So I went from basically 0 to 60 in less than a second. I went from, what are you doing, to all of a sudden I just slipped my hand on the front of her panties, and I'm palming her down there. And yes, I did have sex with her too. Okay. We finish up, and she's got this beautiful behind, holy shit, right? And I'm like, baby, I have to take pictures of your butt. I'm sorry, And, I was talking about earlier where, when I did that, she tested me for congruence. She looked at me like I was insane, but I was just solid about it. She does the same thing. She's like, you're so weird. You're so creepy. I can't believe you do this. And I'm like, and what she's doing is she's screening, okay? Who's going to be the guy that happens with? The guy that just takes charge, takes action, and just does it, okay? But by presenting that kind of block, you're so weird and creepy, she'll scare away. She will make nervous or scare guys that aren't solid away, okay? So that's her screening process, okay? So when you guys get resistance or whatnot, consider that, okay? She wants to have the right guy, or she only allows certain guys to do what they're doing, okay? So it's probably just screening. Pass that shit, okay? It doesn't mean anything. You are who you are, okay? Oh yeah, I took this yoga instructor out, and there's always comes a time where I'm thinking, I'm actually not gonna have sex with this girl tonight. That's weird, but it never works out that way. We always have sex. I don't know. It just. I'm like, okay, I know I'm not gonna have sex with this girl. No, it always just happens. Okay, so I'm out with this girl. She's a yoga instructor, and we go to a movie. I love taking girls to movies. I guess a lot of guys say that they don't agree with the whole movie thing, and I love it. I'm sitting next to a girl, and her seat's my seat basically. I'm grabbing her, and pulling her in, or I'm leaning over her, or rearranging her. Anyways, the date consists of the movie, and then me trying to pick her up and put her in trash cans as I find them. It's just a fun thing. It's trash can, and I grab her, and I'm just trying to I'm joking. I'm not actually gonna do it, but I'm teasing her, and she's like, stop, And it's this fun, dominant, playful way of being with a girl, and I think I counted 16 or 17 trash cans that she almost went into. And when you have that kind of a vibe with a girl, when you're that physical and dominant with her, you're basically setting the mood for what's gonna happen later. So we get back to her place, and she makes me dinner and stuff, and we start messing around, and you know, it doesn't last very long. No, I was kidding. You know, so we started going at it, and I don't know why I'm telling the story, only that it's funny. Anyways, she's on top of me, and I'm just like leaning back like this because I don't like that much, you know. And like she's in my lap, you know, up and down, and I get bored or whatever, and I guess she gets bored too. So she leans over and starts stacking our dinner plates while we're having sex. She's like doing housework. I'm like, what the fuck? And I just grab her, like throw it out, like clear that table, like ah, like that, and she just like starts screaming, and yeah. So I don't know what the point of that story was, only that it's just hilarious. Okay, you know. I met this girl out. She was my blueprint, just exactly what I look for in a girl, like, you know, Latina looking, you know, really, and her attitude, what she projects out. She's like a little socialite. Anyways, you know, we get back to her place. Oh yeah, I'd called her. She'd number closed me. She'd taken my number. And then I sent her like a stupid-ass text message that night. Like, I looked at it later, I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And I don't want to tell you guys because you guys would use it, and I don't want that to happen. Anyway, she calls me up the next day, and she's like, who is this? And I'm like thinking like, what the hell? But I don't let it really bother me. I just start talking to her on the phone, you know, just being like normal stuff, like, you know, we're blah, blah, blah. It's phone game. You're just having a good time, you know? And I start to realize that she knows exactly who it was. She remembers everything. She's just a fucking test to see what's up, right? So apparently at some point, I guess I passed everything, because she goes, well, why don't we watch a movie tonight and you can rub hot lotions in my body? And I'm like, okay. And at that point, somebody said the flinch factor, when that shit happens, because you'll just pass a certain point where the girl, she just goes, okay, you can have me now. You know, when that happens, don't flinch. Just let that, just be cool with that. Okay. You know, I've had that happen enough times where I'm just like, yeah, doesn't bother me. So all of a sudden we go from this girl not knowing me to all of a sudden I'm going to her house tonight, and sex is in the air, you know. Anyways, I'm over at her place with her, and you know, sexual escalation, physical escalation. One of the big things I tell guys is that just like body language, just like how you open, you're the standard, you're the context. So when you're escalating with somebody, it's got to be on your rhythm, okay? Too many guys get stuck on, well, I was making out with her for half an hour, and then she like resists my attempts to like do other stuff with her. And it's like, yeah, dude, because she knows what the fuck you're doing. Like, you're trying to fulfill some other social expectation of how sex goes down. Like, I make out for 20 minutes, and then I fondle her breast for 2 minutes. And if she's cool with that, then I go down lower and lower, you know? And girls are so in tune to that. They don't want that because that's not a guy being his own standard. That's not a guy on his own rhythm doing what he wants to do, okay? Sex, you know, it's a personal thing. Okay, it can't be about like what the movies say sexual escalation is, okay? You know, too many guys, they'll be kissing a girl for too long or whatnot. And, you know, I see that as you're asking for too much compliance from a girl, okay? When you're, you know, you're expecting her to kiss you back instead of actually just leading the interaction further on into physicalness, okay? So anyways, when a girl's with me, like I mentioned earlier, like I'll slap her butt, you know, like just see if it's good to eat, you know. That's like my attitude, you know, and she's fun with that too, because you guys gotta understand that girls really want to have sex, okay? But they don't want to have sex with creepos or guys that are just thinking about other things, or guys that don't want their own stuff. They want to have sex with like real guys, and then they're like free with it. And if they know you're a guy that's just non-judgmental, then you know it's blowing wide open, right? All those stereotypes about like, you know, girls being afraid of sex and being, you know, like, oh, you know, that's reserved for the rest of society. Okay, when you're a solid guy, like the Secret Society article, like Tyler's talking about, there's like another sect, there's like other shit going on, you know? And we might even, girls and even guys might even pay that lip service. But when it comes down to it, you know, sex is a personal vibe, and it can be aggressive or it can be soft and sweet. Anyways, when I was with her, she changed into like a little like like these little workout sweats and like this shirt. And I'm like hanging out there, and I'm like, grab her shirt and like rip it open, like look at her breasts, you know, and she's like, but it's like hilarious. And like I'd grab her pants and like, you know, rip them away to see like what she's got going on, and she'd like scream, but you know, it was hot, you know, and she thought it was hot too. Anyways, I don't actually have sex with her that night. It was intense, but we fell asleep holding hands, so it was really nice. And then the next morning, we get up and we're hanging out, and she's like, well, I got to take a shower now. I'm like, cool, let's go, right? So I'm like trying to follow her in there, and she like gets to the door, and she's like, what are you doing? Go away. I'm like, okay, fine. So I go out to the living room, and I'm like watching TV on the couch, you know? 5 minutes later, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I throw that shit down. I'm like, you know, go in. You know, the bathroom door's unlocked. Was that bathroom door unlocked for a reason? Yes. Okay. I walk in. It's like showering. I peek in, and she's like, you know, I march to the other side. She's like, you know. Then I'm like, you know, and I'm just standing there with her like this, and she's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? You know, she's trying to scold me. I'm just like, you know, having a fun time with her, and you know, just like any hot girl, like, you know, they don't give a shit about, you know, your feelings or anything. She's like, your dick goes to the left, and I'm like, you know, like, I don't, that's not gonna faze me, you know. That's really just my attitude. Anyways, you know, we're kind of like getting frisky in there, and then she kind of like goes like do something down here, and I just grab her, and she's like, oh, you know, and so it goes from there. And of course, I had a condom in the shower with me, and I used one, right? Right. Okay. Exactly. I went over that part. I think I got one last page here. How much time do I have? Okay. Okay. One thing I want to go into is that, you know, girls have this reality. They see the world in a certain way, you know. They're so used to being the standard, the value, that, you know, we have to be proactive about, you know, showing this to them, you know. And because they'll make preconceived ideas, and they just don't understand. And a lot of times, you know, we develop ourselves in such a way that we become outside their ability to read us. You know, everybody says that, you know, women are very perceptive and stuff. When you really get into this, we get to a point where we're actually way beyond your basic ability to like read body language and stuff. So they kind of lose their ability to read us and see what we're thinking or doing. So when we're unreactive to a shit test, it's actually a high value thing, but to them, they think you're being passive, when in reality, you really just don't give a shit, okay? But she's used to dealing with so many guys that are just, you know, pansies, so when she gives them shit and they don't respond, she just misconceives it as you being a big poontang, okay? So my point is that you want to, you know, be proactive about making a point that, you know, you got standards, and you like her, but you want her to be a certain way, and it's just, you're just demonstrating that you're a high-value guy. So I was, here's an example. I was at a bar, and two sexy little girls, and they give me, one of them gives me a hard time at first, and I'm like, bleh, you know, and she's like, hee, and so it's all good. And then, but I don't really want her. I want her friend. So I'm like, hanging out with a friend, and her and I are just getting like, you know, like pretty frisky. And then her friend goes back and starts getting like jealous of what's going on, because I'm basically taking her friend without paying any attention to it, right? So she gets all like attitudinal, and it's not really working. Like she's with me, but she's like trying to like get all trippy, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends now. I don't want her here when I get back, you know. So I walk away back to my friends, and like 10 minutes later I come back, and I'm like, she's still here. I'm leaving. So I walk away, and she's like, what? and trying to grab me, and we go from there. But the point I want to make is that did I really want her to get rid of her friend? Of course not. Okay. Did I expect her to get rid of her friend? No. But the point I was demonstrating is that I have certain standards for how girls behave, and I'm just going to show that. And when you're in the club, you're just fucking around. This shit'll just happen. Okay. You'll just be able to just play off stuff like that, and you'll demonstrate in whatever way. I'm sure the community has all kinds of different ways of compliance or whatnot. I'm not too familiar with what's going on. I'm in a different school of thought here. Oh, yes. So I was hanging out with a girl a couple months ago, and her name is Cecilia. Not Cecilia, Celia. I walk in, and she's with her friend and my buddy and her friend are trying to get it on, but it's not really working out for him. And I walk in, I'm like, so Jessica, blah, blah, blah. And the girl's like, did you just call her Jessica? And I'm like, fuck. Jessica was a girl I had sex with like the day before that. And I'm like, da-da-da, and I just keep going. And since I'm just kind of like, I don't give a shit, the standard, it just gets excused, okay? I called the girl the wrong name, that I'd been with. And, a lot of guys that'll fuck him up, and they'll be like, oh, I didn't mean to, or try to they're like that flinch factor, or they'll hesitate. And what I'm saying is that, shit happens, you make mistakes, don't worry about it, okay? Everything worked out, and she got to walk in on her friend and me later. So I got her back, damn it. Okay. Last year I told this story, I'm gonna tell it again because I like it, it's a good one. I was seeing this girl, and sexually or physically escalation-wise, it wasn't proceeding that quick at all, really. I think we got a kiss or something. And so I'm like, this is fucking retarded, So I just say to her, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to have to tie your hands together behind your back, sit you on your knees in front of me, and make you give me a head. And she goes, maybe you'll have to. And I'm like, oh, yeah. So I just march her up the stairs, take her in her room, put her on her knees, tie her hands together, and make her do it. And it was really hot. I totally recommend that. But the point is, I want to make the point that yeah, I'm aggressive and dominant, but I'm leading. I'm not. I attract high value girls. I attract girls that feel real good about themselves, and I feel good about myself, and I feel good about her and I together. So it's not that I'm some woman hater that bashes women at all. No, it's a personal thing between her and I, and we're just doing crazy shit, and you guys get to hear about it. Okay, so that's really the difference. All right, I'm not looking to dominate women and conquer them, and that's really not it. If I was about that, it really wouldn't be working out for me, at all. Okay, like I said, I come from a frame where I appreciate women, but my shit is together to a point where I'm just focusing on what I'm doing and I'm just having fun. Okay, so that's where the physicalness comes from. That's where the escalation. That's where all the sex comes from. Also, I think I skipped a section right here. I think I want to go back to. I don't think I want to tell that one. Anyways. Okay, so. Oh, also, one point I want to make is that I really hate it when I hear about guys, they're like, yeah, I made this girl do this, and then me and my buddy did this to her, and it's just like, and you can tell that they're like trashing this girl and all kinds of ridiculous stuff. And to me, that's a reflection of the fact that he's not taking responsibility for what he's doing. He's not his own standard, so he's making a girl do shit that he doesn't really want, but he's just seeing if he can get her to do it because he gets to laugh about it later. Okay, and I really hate that. That's fucked up to me, and I've seen that on RSD, and I just fucking smash that. I mean, we're very positive, but at that point, I was like, yeah. When I'm with a girl, I don't make her do things, or I don't try to dominate her into doing things that I would lose respect, for her, it's porno style, definitely, but I'm not trying to like subjugate her or fuck with her, I still see these girls the same way after she's like laying there all like bedraggled and like just covered in like my juices and stuff, To me, she's still absolutely beautiful, okay? Sometimes I hear they do like that gulping sound. I'm like, oh, and then like she'll like wipe her mouth down, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, Anyways, the point I want to make is that when you're a centered guy, calm guy, and you're taking care of your shit, you present the kind of image that girls just want to be around, okay? And these are the kind of things that happen. And when you're presenting this kind of physicalness, they're like, cool, this is a cool guy. He's got his shit together. I could be a naughty little girl, and it's okay. And he's not going to make me do things that make him lose respect for me or lose value in his eyes. And when you do that, man, this stuff really starts to happen. Okay, cool. One thing I want to go into, like specific parts. Opening, regardless of how many times people say, you can open anybody, it's the easiest part. Well, opening is important. It's who you are, okay? You can get blown out, if you don't do it the right way. And what I'd want to say is that when you're your standard, you're relaxed and you're centered like totally, you walk up and you just hit it hard, when you say what you're doing or whatever, you're not like hesitating to see how she's reacting to you, okay? A guy should be so into why he's there that he's really not reacting to her for the first part. He's just like being and doing and just hitting them with something. And he's not, as he's talking, like seeing how they're reacting, okay? Because that means that he's trying to fit their standard, not his, okay? And to me, that's kind of like I'm not against guys learning routines. I think they're cool because it kind of presents to a guy, when a girl sees a guy run a routine, it's kind of an image of a guy that's like not focused on her. He's presenting something else to her. He's like all about this, and like he wants her in, like, and he might even be like teasing her with it, like, I think this, and that is what engages a girl, okay? You don't want it to be about you and her right off the bat, like, so, just too intense, like looking at her too much. Have fun with what you're doing. That's what I'm trying to say, okay? As far as, natural versus like routines and whatnot, I'm cool with them. I think they're all right. I think the point is that, and I like I said, I think all parts of the community are moving to the same place. I think we're all going to be exactly the same kind of shit later on. But, when you're just naturally in touch with yourself, the shit that comes out of your mouth is gold, you're a routine spitter, okay? You're coming up with your own shit, all right? And that's what I'm trying to say about natural, just being yourself, being centered and being in charge of what you're doing. When you're out and about and you're trying to like, get physical with a girl in a club, some of us like to do, Nathan from RSD, his opening like keynote or physicalness is fucking great. And when you're out at a club, the whole point of this presentation is not that you're some, wacko with stilts doing all kinds of crazy shit like, magic and like fire out of his ass and it's presenting the image of a guy who is actually plugged into society. He's actually part of it. He's just a dominant guy just having a good fucking time. And that's the kind of guy that girls want to be with, okay? So what I would say when it comes to keno or being physical with a girl, you don't want to be like doing like crazy shit like bending her over in a club. And you want to present an image of like a guy who's social and acceptable, socially acceptable, but just dominant, okay? Plugged in but dominant. So like shaking hands or like pulling him in and like directing him and like that kind of thing. So you're operating within the bounds of what other people are going to perceive as acceptable. You're just a dominant guy doing it, okay? And what's that say, all right? It says that you're so tuned in that you can be physical while you're being a social guy, okay? That everything you do, because, to women, reality is social dynamics, it's group dynamics, okay? She's got to feel like she's plugged in because that's what she is. She's a little social animal, okay? So you gotta present not like some kind of like outcast caveman crazy fuck, okay, who's just gonna come in like a whirlwind, like toss skills everywhere. Yeah, you will get to that point. But when you kind of open and when you're interacting with people, you want to be dominant in a way that shows that you're part of what's going on, okay? You don't want her friends freaking out like, and this happened, I used to do this like years ago. This happened like, where I'd be like, I'd have a girl really into me, and I'd be like physically escalating like crazy on her, you know? And she was like cool, you know, because she was kind of like in that state with me. But her friends were like, what the fuck is this, you know? And so you want to be with her something where, you know, her social circle, her people, the rest of the club is going to be fine with it, okay? Like, have you guys heard of objection game? Okay, one of the girl's main objections is if her friends are going to see her as a slut. You know, it's a big problem that girls deal with, okay? So the point of, how do you get past that? You show physical dominance in a way that's socially acceptable, okay? You know, and a big thing like, you know, you're meeting a girl and you're pulling her in, like, you know, and you're just moving them around, and you're not being like overtly sexual. You're not like, you know, coming up and following them, even though I've actually done that. But you know, at a consistent level, that's where you want to be at, okay? So showing physical dominance in a way that everybody else looks at and is like, oh, okay, he's just a dominant guy, but he's part of society. He's not some crazy guy that I got to make sure that she doesn't go off with him and get murdered, you know? Or it's not even that they even have any kind of real thoughts about it. It's just like subconscious bullshit, you know? They'll blow you out. They'll take their girl from you if you're getting all screwy with her. I've got one part I want to go over, and I think I'm going to be pretty much close to done here. You know, we talk about being such an attractive guy that, you know, we make girls like, you know, fall all over us and stuff, and we're just high value, and we make, you know, the point. I guess what I want to say is that it's never over. You don't get to a point where all of a sudden, you know, you can just relax and you can just assume that because you used to act a certain way, well, she's got to be my little love slave, you know. You got to always be working to make her feel good. Always, you know, if you're that guy in charge, it should happen naturally. But I remember, let's see, like a year or two ago, I was seeing this girl, and I was exclusive with her. I was super, super into her. I mean, that was it. You know, I'm always happy when I meet a girl that I'm so into that I just want to be with her solely. And it happens, and I'm really glad when it does. Anyways, I've got like a 24-hour shift, and I'm like, you know, they suck. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but, you know, when you're in the middle of the night and stuff, it really sucks. And, you know, she calls me up, she's like, baby, I want to come down there and suck your cock. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm like, whoo, you know, and I'm like, sweet, right? She pulls up in the parking lot, and I'm like, fuck yeah. Guys, I'll see you in a bit. And I start walking out there, but I'm like walking all slow, and like I'm tired, and like, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm just like, oh. And what was I not doing? I was not presenting the image of a dude, right? I was just like this like decrepit old dude, you know? Was I attractive? You know, no. I wasn't up to she knew I wasn't up to what I was supposed to be at, right? I get in the truck, and I'm like, hey. She's like, you know, I just don't feel like it anymore, you know? And I'm like, what the fuck? You know, I'm like freaking out, like, you know, like this is retarded, you know? And I guess what I want to say is that when I thought about it later, I can't blame her for that. You know, Tyler says one of his 3 rules for life, whatever, don't ever assume, okay? Don't assume that because since she said something, she's going to feel the same way, even if you're acting like a piece of shit, okay? So always be working to make your girl feel good, to feel right, to feel that emotional wellness with her, okay? Because honestly, that's one of the reasons why a girl wants a guy, is he's supposed to be emotionally centered, and he's supposed to make her feel good, okay? And if you're not doing that, then naturally she's not going to feel very attracted. And the girl this girl was so high value. I mean, she was really into me and stuff, but she was so high value that, she didn't want to go down on a guy that was like a fucking decrepit old individual. And as a high value woman, I can respect that kind of behavior from her. Okay, I expect that from myself. I'd expect it from her. Okay, so always be working to make sure you know where she's at and just be that guy at all times. Okay. I lost my page here. There's certain guys that we get called like insensitive or assholes all the time. We're like, that guy's you're just a dick, or you're with girls and you're seen as being insensitive. Well, honestly, that's really just a perception, because when it comes down to it, say a girl's having a hard time with something, she's just out, just going on a haywire emotional state, and she hits you up with that, okay? Now, some guys are like, they're unresponsive and they're unreactive, and they get blamed for being insensitive, right? Like, oh, he's just too much of an asshole. Well, what really makes sense, okay? Does the girl want you to get all fucking haywire with her when she's acting all crazy? No. She wants you to stay where you're at emotionally centered. That's the whole point, is she wants you to be able to tell her, you know what, babe, it's really okay. Okay. So don't feel like you got to get emotionally involved in everything that's going on, because you're really probably not supposed to. She wants a guy that's really centered and in charge of his emotions, so when she gets all crazy, because they will from time to time, you just grab her like, it's really not a big deal, cry on my shoulder, rip the baby kind of thing. Just be good that way. Now, at the same time, I've made mistakes where just because I'm at where I'm at in my life, girls would present things to me that I really didn't care about, because I'm at a place where little things really don't bother me. And I didn't realize that to her, it really bugged the shit out of her. And so I just was being my normal, self, and I came up, and I didn't take care of an issue with the girl when I knew or when I realized later that I should have. Okay. So, I guess as a guy being with a girl, be that rock, be that emotional centeredness. At the same time, if she's got a real issue, I think you guys will know, and at that point, just take care of it with her, okay? In conclusion, I'd want to say that, you guys can go to any kind of seminars you want. You guys can read anybody's books. And, I read myself, and I like to listen to other guys talk and stuff and discuss whatever, and it's good to learn, okay? But in the end, know that everything that happens with yourself is a personal decision on your part, okay? You can't count on somebody else to bring you to a certain place in your game, okay? It really is a physical shift inside yourself, all right? And I think when you guys realize that, it'll actually set you free. When you guys realize how much control you guys have over yourselves, when you guys might think at first, oh, wow, I can't rely on somebody to build my game for me. No, you rely on yourself, but actually that will you are the prize. And like I said before, when you're just working on yourself and you're working through yourself on your purpose and intent, that's what makes you feel at ease. Okay. As I'm a Man Who RSD Nation, JohnnyFeelGood.tv, and I guess it's time for questions now. Silence. Oh, there's one. What's up? No, you're not on.
Were you confident pretty much your whole life?
You see that horse thing? That was cool. I gotta see if I can get that going again. I don't want to get too personal on myself, but I had a really rough childhood. Parts of it were super fucked up, okay? So there comes a point where you can either take this stuff on and be a little pansy for the rest of your life, or just realize that you just got to, whatever happens is not that bad. Have you guys read, I don't know if it's Power now, but Tully's background is that shit got so bad, he was like in a fucking dumpster, and all of a sudden he realized, dude, I'm still alive. I'm still breathing. I can still smell the flowers. Well, actually, you could probably still smell the trash can. But everything, as bad as everything is, I'm still me. I'm still who I am. And I reached that point when I was like, I think I was like in junior high. And, you know, I definitely dealt with some awkwardness, some clumsiness. I had, you know, but I wanted to be a certain way. And I think, you know, I went through enough bullshit when I was younger that I reached a certain point where I'm just like, well, I want to be this way. And you guys can all make that decision. And what I'm trying to say is that confidence comes from being present, okay, getting rid of the mental clutter, and taking care of your business. Okay, what his post said, you guys might want to read it, because what it said is that when you're taking care of your stuff, you are building reference points in your mind without even trying to that tell you in everything you do that you are confident and dominant. And you become comfortable expressing yourself because you're just taking care of your business. And I really feel that that's where confidence comes from. And no, I really wasn't confident my whole life at all because I was getting, you know, kicked around and stuff. So I guess what I want to say is that confidence is a decision that you can make. Okay.
What was the big turning point for you when you became most confident?
I guess when I hit college, you know, everybody talks about this gradual shift in their game, where like they develop game and they become more like this certain way. When I hit college, and I talked about this last year, move the fuck away. Get out from your parents, get from your background. I hit college and I made a snap decision to be a certain way. I went from one day being not what I wanted to be to the next day I was this social guy just talking to people, and I was fucking up, but I was so like didn't give a shit that they were like, cool, this guy is like, you know, a little bit clumsy, but we like him. And that's actually a little bit after that is when I got this man whore name or whatever, you know. So it was college for me. I said, fuck it. I even remember two, I guess you'd call them sets. It was like in a freshman orientation, and I saw this guy sitting at a table, and I didn't know anybody. And I'm like, I need to make a decision to go talk to that guy. So I went up and I started talking to him, and we were friends all of a sudden. And like a couple days later, like I'm outside my dorm, and there's like this whole table load of like fucking hot freshman chicks, right? And I'd never really done this before, and I said, fuck it. And I just walked up and it was like, blam! And they were my best friends for like the next like year or two, okay? So for me, it really was a decision to, this feels weird, okay? I don't like this. I'm gonna do it anyways, okay? And, you know, I'd done certain things. I was a hydrophobe growing up. So in high school, I joined the swim team. And I sure as fuck wasn't a hydrophobe after that, you know. I didn't like that, so I'm like, I got to take care of this. So I started swimming on the team, and I lettered both those years, you know. I wanted to get more physical and dominant, so I joined the wrestling team. I started lifting weights. But by the time it was time to be social, I had done the things I needed to do to tell myself that I can take what I want and have what I want, okay? So I guess that's kind of an echo of my presentation, just kind of told from who I am, what I am. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, cool, great. No. You bastard. We just passed it around. Oh, you do have a question? I thought we were just like passing it. Okay.
Well, what advice would you give to somebody who like wants to become more dominant, more like, I guess more centered?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'd say two different parts, and I think that kind of one leads into the other. For me personally, like I said, when I was a younger guy, you know, I didn't mix sexuality with the aggressive and the dominance. I was just this physical guy with like my female friends. Like I would start these fucked up pillow fights, and we'd have wrestle-offs, and they didn't want to have wrestle-offs, but I did, you know. And so what I'd say is that take out the sexuality, develop in yourself. You're just physical and dominant with people. If you take out the sexuality, you'll give yourself the ability to be at ease with it. Okay, I've noticed a lot of guys when they can be good physical, when they start mixing in like the sexual intent, that's kind of when it fucks them up. So what I said in the beginning is, if you want to develop this in yourself, maybe lay off the sexualness, maybe develop some physicalness and aggressiveness in yourself, and then bring in the sexual intent later. You know, does that make sense? And for me, it was a while. Okay, for you guys, since you guys have all these resources, you guys can this will take place not, you know, it won't take very long at all. For me, I was like, I didn't like bring in like sex, you know, that kind of thing until like, you know, maybe a year after I was really started being this way. Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay, focus on one thing, break it down, you know, small chunk of whatever, and bring in the sexual stuff later. Okay.
Can you go a little more details about cavemaning in a club?
Yes. So like I was saying earlier, is that you know, you want to come across as a socially plugged-in guy. You know, at the same time, you're gonna reach that point where you're with a girl and you either have dismissed your friends. Like when I come in sometimes, I own it. And, you know, I just start. It's come to a point where I just, okay, you know, you girls can run away now. And when you're at that point, you basically own that person. You can do whatever you want. I mean, I've gotten, you know, hand jobs, done all kinds of stuff with girls. Obviously, you know, sex too. I guess that doesn't really answer your question. You know, when you're starting out, be physical in a way that's socially acceptable. Okay. It's kind of a way that demonstrates to everybody around you that you are part of society. You're not some kind of crazy guy. And allows you to be comfortable with what you're doing. Okay, and from there you can build into it. Now, as you do this more, you'll kind of develop your own rhythm. You know, you'll be like, I want to do this to her now. And if you come across in the way we've been talking about, like that hardness, that standard, girls will just kind of trust themselves with you, and it all goes from there. Okay. What I don't do, and what I'd experienced, you know, every once in a while, you know, years ago or whatnot, is that I would try to get physically dominant with a girl that didn't want it from me, you know, and it'd be like a fucking battle, and I had to get away from that. You want to be in that, you know, you want to make sure she wants it also. But how you get there is to be centered in yourself so that you're just having fun with her, and that shit just happens naturally, okay? I remember one girl, you know, you can't physically escalate on a girl, you can't be dominant with her if she doesn't like you, okay? So work on that, you know, have fun. It's all about having fun. I wanted to say that I'm not trying to conquer women. That's not what I'm about, and it's all about having fun, okay? So from there, if that's the context, if it's playful and you're just leading, then naughty stuff's going to happen. So I guess I'd concentrate on being, you know, socially acceptable, dominant. You know, your hand stuff, you're grabbing, you're pulling, you're like, what, you know? And then like I saw a natural the other day. I was like, that's smooth. He walks up to this girl and like he grabs her and like pulls her in like this and look at her, and then like she says something, and this is a perfect example of how you guys want to be. She says something like, you know, weird, and this is just gonna happen naturally, and he goes, and like he like pushes her away, you know, and he's still at the same time he's like doing this, but he's like letting her know his body language that he's ready to catch her at any point. Like he's not fully breaking rapport. Too many guys like completely break rapport, and there's no chance for a girl to come back, and she's not going to. So while you're pushing a girl away, you kind of want to ground her to you in a way that lets her know that this guy is just teasing me, and I can have him back as I want. I don't have to lower myself to do it. Okay, so you know, push-pull is a great way to go caveman, because, and then once a girl feels qualified to you, like you guys have like this thing, then you just do naughty stuff, you know. There was this girl. I was at a MySpace party, Maxim party in San Diego, and I talked to this girl, and earlier in the night, and it was like cordial, but it wasn't there, you know. I'm like, hey, whatever. I come back like 2 hours later, and she's just like, I come in and it's immediately on, like she just wants me. And when you see that happening, to me personally, that makes me want to go further. Okay, so take away that clutter that tells you can't do it. When you want something, go for it. When she's giving you a signal that you guys have this thing, take it. Okay, I think somehow I ended up, she was pinned like against the railing like shortly after, and I was like, you know, down here, and it went from like 0 to like 60, you know what I'm saying? So somebody said, know how to sexually escalate. You know, when you got that, when you see that happening, when you got that vibe, hit it up, okay? Are we done? Another minute or two. We got a question? This guy. I keep grabbing this like it's my water.
Hi. What did you mean when you said explain? You push her away a little bit?
Yeah, push-pull.
Yeah, you let her know that she doesn't come back? Or that she can come back?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's like another speech entirely. If you read, I focus a lot on like building a guy up, like I guess inner game stuff, but I've got this series on my site and on RC Nation I'm working on. It's called LMR, and what it really is you want to present to a girl the image of a guy that's screening and the standard, and so she knows that when you're with her doing stuff, she's also earned you, okay? So when you're like, remember I said earlier about introducing standards? That's a push-pull right there, okay? So when you're this kind of thing is part of your interaction, she feels like she's earned you basically, okay? A girl wants a guy who's a prize, okay? Too many guys out there, they supplicate, they're not following their standards, they're these weak, flimsy kind of guys. So what you're communicating by this push-pull is that, you know, you like her, but if she messes up, it might not happen, okay? And that's why when he went like this, and then she said something, you're just like, you know? And what I was saying is that he didn't fully break rapport. The first time I really saw this articulated was Tim from RSD. He's got this way of like, when he teases a girl, like at the same time, she knows fully that he might be teasing her, but he's still got her. Like she's still part of his vibe. She's just kind of like messed up a little bit. And like DYD fucked guys up because they would completely break rapport. They'd completely be assholes, and they'd cut off all communication. And the only girls that really kept going with the interaction were like the low self-esteem girls that wanted the abuse. Okay, if you want the top-notch girls that are into solid guys, you got to present. You got to show that you have standards and you're doing your own thing. But she can be part of what she wants, and you're gonna let her know that oh, I don't like that, kind of thing.
So basically, if you might push her away if she doesn't. That kind of goes against your values.
It doesn't have to be a push. It's like a. Well, I do a lot. Right. Like I think Sin was going into yesterday. It's like a nonverbal, like what's going on, or like you can verbalize it. But it's mostly through subcommunication. So it's mostly nonverbal. It's kind of like what's going on here? Okay, without fully breaking rapport.
Do we have time for another one? Is there time for another question?
I don't know. Are we done?
We're about done, yeah.
Okay. Let's go. You can ask it, I guess. We can just cut it. Oh, no, I have to. Okay, a man whore, RSD Nation, www.johnnyfeelgood.tv. I'm out.